You're saying the lives of a billion strangers are more important than my loved ones?
What did you think of his characterization of Insomniac Spider-Man as in comparison to Edge of Time?
I think Edge of Time is terrible.
Yeah, we'll just agree on that. That's agreement there for us. Way better than Edge of Time.
That is an agreement.
I think Edge of Time. I think Edge of Time has very little to like about him.
Edge of Time Peter is the worst Spider-Man in existence.
He has a character arc that is both character assassination and just a complete antithesis to the fucking character of Spider-Man. Whereas Insomniac, no matter how hard SK and fucking Fat Legend want to be greasy about it, I really like his character in Spider-Man 2 and love him in PS4.
He's great in PS4. I'll agree with that one. Miles is great in his own game too, and in PS4. I really like Miles. Liked Miles. Liked.
I like. Hot take. I actually like Miles more in 2.
Oh man.
Terrible opinion.
The grease just increased.
I mean, even if you want to say that, Miles' whole fucking character arc doesn't revolve around a fucking character assassination like fucking Peter in Edge of Time.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Well, I mean,
even if I wanted to agree with your Black Cat thing, like with Miles, that situation, it's like, okay, that's not even his character arc though. Well, it's just like a moment in the game.
Edge of Time Peter's character arc. His whole thing was, I almost died because of anti-venom. Now I'm gonna ditch everyone and my loved ones too, because don't say the line. But then the only thing he actually gets that's like a substantive change is him saying, man, I must have been crazy to think about staying here in 2099. I can't do that. If the people I love are in danger, it's like, oh, so it's only the people you love. That's all you fucking care about. I hate you.
Listen, bro, Spider-Man's always been a selfish character. Haven't you heard?
Oh my god.
Guys, Spider-Man's known as the flawed one, so whenever he does something shitty, we can accept it.
This is why I find it really funny that the only time it comes into question whether or not Spider-Man's a hero, the only time people debate on if he's an actual hero is when we talk about Edge of Time.
Yeah.
Like that specifically.
Yeah, that's the only time we get the defense that Peter can do shitty bad things. I'm like, what the fuck?
At least in Insomniac, when we talk about characters, we don't hear, yeah, actually Spider-Man's not a hero, so you're wrong.
Well, don't you know Insomniac's bad because he not angry like Edge of Time Spider-Man?
Yeah, 10 years Spider-Man is not angry all the time.
Insomniac's
that's a problem.
I actually wouldn't have minded if Insomniac Spider-Man got a bit angry from time to time.
I mean, there's parts in the game where he'll like slip up a little bit.
Yeah,
but like,
I think they should have probably went further.
Well, no, I mean like fucking
other aspects of his character.
Yeah, but he's an older Peter. Like when Peter gets more matured and like older in the comics, he stops like getting so emotional over things, and he's more calm and composed about things.
Well,
so I think it's fitting.
Well, let's look at Peter B. Parker. He's one of the most known for being calm and composed.
When are you referring to as later in the comics? Because I only read up to 400.
Well, yeah, that's pretty damn late. Holy shit! Like pretty much like. Well, I'd say it's. Well, I haven't read them all in like sequential order, like 1 through 400, but like he starts to get less emotional, like more towards like the. It's near parts of like the I would say where I kind of noticed it from the comics that I've read. It's near like the symbiote saga.
What are you talking about?
Like when Peter stops getting so emotional over things.
Alrighty. This conversation's getting a little bit too
Literally
smelly.
after college, he started growing up and stopped doing that.
This conversation just started. Well, I actually remember when I was pretty late into my binge of Spider-Man comics, the Amazing Spider-Man comics in particular, he was still getting he was still like attacking people when he thought they killed them. Like I remember that there are certain characters that he was teaming up with for a bit, and he suspected them of killing them. Like he just legit straight up decked those people. He was pretty impulsive in those original comics, and wasn't really something present in the Insomniac Spider-Man. And as you said, the fact that he was more mature in this, well,
I mean, we see like, well, when Otto when Otto reveals to him like he knew all along, like we see that burst of anger, and like you hear it in his voice as he's like fucking beating the shit out of Otto on the side of the building. And like, well, like another moment I can think of off the top of my head is like when it's like there's multiple points with Silver Sable where he gets a little pissed off, and then like when MJ sneaks into the Sable camp, he like kind of snaps in a little moment and then can like composes himself again. He's like, "You snuck into the middle of an armed. You know what? Can we not do this right now?" Like he like shit like that. Like you see small bursts of anger come from him, but he's more mature, so I think it fits.
Well, also, if we look at flashbacks of when he was younger, he literally punched a hole in his wall because he was so mad about Jameson slandering him.
Yeah.
That is true, but I actually think when it comes to this character, where we see him now, I think it would have been better for his character if he got angry at times and it was uncalled for. I think it would have made him a little less annoying. I actually found him kind of annoying.
That's just not in the comics. I've never read a Spider-Man comic where he's angry and it's just not justifiable. Like every time he's angry, it's because of very like good reasons. That's why anyone would be angry.
I mean, I would even argue. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. I'm not exactly talking about the comics right now, like completely disassociated. I'm talking about this character. I'm just talking solely about standalone Insomniac Peter Spidey, what you call him. I believe that I found him kind of frustrating for reasons. Well, I liked his character, but I found him kind of frustrating for reasons that I wouldn't have if he had some more traits that were just bad. And one of the primary reasons for.
Well, I mean, I would.
What do you mean by bad traits exactly?
Wait, real quick. I want to point out when he had the black suit on, like, sure, it like amplifies his emotions, but like those emotions didn't come from the symbiote; they came from him. It's kind of like just him not being mature with his stuff and his acts.
That is true. But what the examples that you brought up of him getting mad. Those are true. Those are moments where he kind of got mad and picked up a little bit. But I'm talking about moments where he could. I want more moments where he gets mad during things that he probably shouldn't react mad. I think that those were certain things that would have helped because there was a certain thing about this character that kind of annoyed me. It's something that was present in the original comics from what I read. Well, definitely he did the same thing a lot in those, but he had certain traits that kind of made it more understandable. In the Insomniac games, we all know it, he beats himself up a whole lot. And
which is one of his most common character flaws in the comics.
I know, but he was also in the comics. He was, as I said before, he was way more impulsive, and there was a lot of times where he got angry and kind of threw things around, and that one made it easier to stomach the fact that he would beat himself up so much. But since Insomniac Spider-Man, he only, for the most part, minus black suit, only really gets
Peter impulsive in the comics. I wouldn't say that.
Since he only really gets mad during parts where it's, understandable, or when he had the black suit, I don't really think he makes enough mistakes to get to the point where when we see him constantly beating himself up, even without the black suit, it's really not fresh because it's really uncalled for. And I get that's the point, but it would have been more understandable if he actually screwed up more. And it seems like his only real problem in the Insomniac Spider-Man, his biggest problem is that he doesn't really do everything.
Hang on a second.
That's a lot.
There's a lot to respond to. First of all, Peter saying he's impulsive in the comics is unfair. You're probably getting that from when he's like a teenager. He's not impulsive when he's an adult. He doesn't make stupid impulsive decisions once he starts growing up. So I don't agree with that at all. People have to remember, this isn't Lee Ditko Spider-Man. This is like older Spider-Man. This is after college Spider-Man.
Well, I would even say like Ultimate, like even like 30 issues into Ultimate, he stops being like kind of bad at being Spider-Man, I guess, or like making impulsive decisions.
Which Ultimate?
Ultimate, the old one, like 2000s Ultimate comics.
And back to like Insomniac, he does make multiple mistakes in the game. He literally has like a character flaw of pride through the entire game, which makes the situation worse and worse to the point where he needs to rely on others to help him save the day. So I don't know how he doesn't have like meaningful character flaws or flaws that are like really bad.
Inadvertently, the entire events of the first game are kind of on him. Although, like, Doc Ock wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Peter.
Yeah, Doc Ock exists because of Peter's lack of understanding of duality.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can justify a lot. You can justify his thought process in very understandable ways. The thing that
you could do that in the comics, though. That's just Peter in general.
Not
Peter's
not to the same degree. Not to the same.
Yeah,
degree,
to the same degree. Because you got to give an example. Hang on, stop. You got to give an example when Peter does like a really bad thing and it's not justifiable why he would do that by accident.
In the comics,
when has Peter made a mistake and it's just unjustifiable? Like you can't understand him,
and
he's just being a dick.
Comics or in the video game?
In the comics, because you said it's in the comics.
Well, an example that I said before was when he forget again. It's been quite some long time before I've actually read these, but from my memory, as I said before, there were certain times where he would just straight up deck people when he suspected them of not following his no-kill rule. I don't think the Insomniac Spider-Man would have done the same. I recall.
Sorry, deck who? Punch who? Like you gotta be more clear.
Hold on, wait, real quick. Wario, if you want to talk about Knuckles, you can join after the next disagreement. Sorry.
Yeah. All right, continue. Like deck who? What's the context? I need to know what story this is.
I don't remember the exact superhero. It was a long time ago. All I can say is that there was a time where I think it was that guy with the bow staff, maybe. It might have been the Punisher. But he knocked him out, this person that Spider-Man was teaming up with, and he punched him for it because he thought he killed him. That's one example.
How is that not understandable that Spider-Man wants to take you down because he thought you're a murderer?
I don't think Insomniac Spider-Man would have done the same thing.
He would.
I mean, he decked the Sable agents. He says, that's not how we do things.
Yeah, he literally beats the shit out of the Sable agents for trying to execute terrorists, first of all. Secondly, he literally says in the end of the third DLC to Yuri, I'm going to take you down for fucking killing people. So no, he would do that. And that's not even a mistake. That's not a wrong thing to do. Spider-Man trying to stop murderers? Why is that bad?
During that moment,
how is that a negative quality for his character?
During that moment where he knocked out the Sable agents, do you think that was an action that he like logically planned out, or do you think that was something that he did because he like got angry?
He did it on the spot.
He logically planned out because he saw people doing something that he thought was wrong.
Thing right there, because in the comics during those certain that example, I think it even happened more than once. It was clearly impulsive. Like he wasn't just punching.
Well, how old was he?
He was screaming at these people.
How old was he?
He was probably in his.
Oh, what about? Hold on. What about when he
ask him a question? How old is he? What era are you talking about?
It was probably in the 200 to 300, 300 to 400.
So when he's still in college?
Was he?
This is a Spider-Man after college. This is a full-grown adult. So why are you using a younger Spider-Man to compare? Use him when he's an adult in the comics.
Batnick is bringing up a point. He says 616 Peter had a sit-down conversation with Daredevil when he accidentally killed someone. A little different because it's one of his close friends, but it does showcase Peter's maturity.
Yeah, it's almost like when he's an adult, he thinks things through better because he gets better as Spider-Man. He doesn't get worse.
I want to bring up. Wait a second. I want to bring up when Sable after the Martin Lee thing, she starts blaming Peter for this. He literally tries to grab her guns and fucking attack her because of what she's been
getting mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's trying to put the burden of guilt on him, so he gets frustrated, and he literally starts talking back to her, and then initiates the fight. He was so impulsive there that Sable was able to get a cheap shot on him.
How
does that not show his character flaw? After he tried to stop the armored car. It's after he stops the armored car.
And that was after he was like yelling at the Sable agents for blowing rockets around the Devil's Breath, so he was already getting mad.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. I vaguely remember that scene. But the thing is, there are more examples that I could give here because I can guarantee.
Okay, hang on. Before you go, I need to say this. The examples need to be justified with the character we're talking about and what time period. Like the problem right now is you said it's around the issues like 200s and stuff when he's still like early in his college years.
It was like maybe 350 through 400. Yeah, he was like in his 20s or during this time, I think.
All right, 350. Okay, what does he do in 350?
All around that time, he fights Venom. Around that area. That's the kind of this major. I think the Clone Saga was beginning around that era.
Okay. And just keep in mind in the Clone Saga, they character assassinate Peter.
Okay. Like what? That's not that doesn't really have much to do with the point I was making. The Clone Saga.
No, I'm just saying to keep in mind if it's during the Clone Saga or getting close, that's when Peter starts becoming really badly characterized in the comics.
I know. The thing is, the point that I'm making here, we don't even really need to reference the comic to make. I was only referencing the comics to kind of like clarify a bit because I still think yes, these arguments that I'm making, I believe they can be they're made in terms of just writing a character to make them like easier to stomach. I think these things I'm saying would make it. Or just make the character of Peter a little bit more understandable.
Can I bring up something? Like you bring up like I've only seen you bring up like 2 examples out of like 400.
I was going to get to more, but
all right. Well, even if you were to bring, hold on.
Let him bring up the example because he was trying to say it for a while.
Yeah, I know. I just want to say, even if you were to bring up 10 or 20 examples, that's 20 examples out of 20 issues from like a 400-page comic series. Even if you want to get to 200, comparing that to a video game, which is like way less story content to consume, and we already have given you multiple examples of Insomniac Peter, like even though he's an adult still, kind of having moments of like, you know, immaturity with his anger and emotional problems.
But the thing is about those moments is that you could make very understandable justifications for those, and
you can do that with the one in the comics. The examples you use were understandably justified. Like you said, he deck. Stop, everybody! Hang on.
Interrupting me a lot. Like I'm trying to get to stuff here, you know.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to get you the floor, but I just wanted to clarify something. When you say understandable, my issue is you can do that with the comics because the examples you provided were understandable mistakes he makes. It's the same thing.
You know, just disassociate the comics. Let's not bring up the comics at all because I don't really need to reference the comics to make.
Okay, fine. Let's go outside Spider-Man comics. Do you like Superman versus the Elite?
I think we can just talk. The point I'm trying to make. I think we can just reference Insomniac Spider-Man for the point I'm trying to make here.
Yeah, but I'm trying to use an example. So, do you like Superman versus the Elite?
Is that the one where he like pretended to kill people?
Yeah. It's the whole why doesn't Superman kill movie, blah 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 blah. The anti-Snyder equation. That movie.
Oh. Yeah.
So,
yeah, all right.
Is Superman? Is it an issue that Superman doesn't make any kind of like mistakes that are not understandable? Is it an issue that Superman doesn't do stuff like that? Where's the time where Superman does something impulsive or angry or whatever?
I've only.
I mean, we'll just bring an easy one.
I don't understand the parallel you're trying to make here.
What I'm trying to make is why is this only applied to Spider-Man? Why is it that Spider-Man has to do a mistake that makes him a piece of shit?
Sir, I'm not only applying this to Spider-Man. I'm saying that.
Yeah, so that's why I'm using Superman.
I mean, I would apply the same exact things to many different characters, but I think this is like a matter of basic character writing, so that's why I don't think.
Okay, so what about Invincible? Tell me a time where Invincible does an impulsive bad mistake.
I think he was.
That's not based on understanding.
No. Let me bring this up. I just.
No, Borgie. No, Borgie.
No. He was getting into something.
Yeah, he was getting into something. My bad.
My bad.
Yeah, just let him go.
All right. So I think that this is a matter of basic character writing. I don't think that this is something that you need to say, well, in this character here is understandable here, because obviously humans are different. People react to certain situations different ways. You can't really say some people would absolutely react certain here or another this way. So it's hard.
I agree.
Hard to really say that a character is bad because they do act in a certain way. But I do think, Hank, and allow me to get to this point, because now I can finally get to the thing I'm trying to get to. I think that Insomniac Peter would have been a little more understandable for me. The amount of times he beat himself up. In terms of his enjoyability as a character, I think it would have been a good contrast with making mistakes that were a little more unjustifiable. And I'm going to get to my certain examples. You, Colin, referenced certain examples where he did get mad or kind of began to get mad, but all of those are examples that you mentioned where I think, in terms of the narrative, it's very understandable, which isn't a problem, but it isn't a problem on its own. But basically my theory here is that if all the times that he gets angry in this games are kind of understandable or fair, and the fact that he beats himself up so much isn't really as, what's the word I'm looking for? No, I'm not always good finding these certain words, but I just don't think it works as well. Because like the example that you brought, Colin, about him, what was it? My gosh. Not really relying on other people like Mary Jane and Miles and all that, kind of putting. How did you describe it again? Could you paraphrase it real quick for me?
What is the example you're talking about?
The fact that Peter kind of babied MJ and all that stuff.
Yeah, what about it?
You said that was an example of one of his flaws. For what reasons again?
No. I was bringing up that was a moment where he kind of got angry, but then he like got himself back in check for a second when he tells MJ, where she's like bitching at him, and he tells her, "You snuck into the middle of an armed. You know what? Can we not do this right now?"
Exactly, and that's the point I'm bringing. I understand that he got a little frustrated there, but at the same time, that's a moment where I can't really blame him, because because it's not really matter who was right or wrong, but the fact is, there's a very logical thought process to the way that he's going about things. The fact that he is someone with superpowers, and the fact that MJ is not someone with superpowers. While it's understandable, MJ would be frustrated because Peter doesn't really see her as, someone on his level or something like that. At the same time, it's very understandable for Peter to not trust him, for Peter to not trust MJ, because she doesn't have she didn't get hit with the luck stick, getting bitten by a radioactive spider. So he kind of views her from that lens that she doesn't really have the ability to defend herself as much as he does, because no superpower. So it's perfectly understandable that he wouldn't trust him to do these things, or most other people.
So, I think I'm just still waiting. I'm still waiting for why this has to be the thing. Like, it has to be unjustifiable anger.
Like, how does it tie to character writing? I guess.
Here's the thing. Are you just looking for the Incredible Hulk? Do you just want Bruce Banner?
Nope.
Because that's what that sounds like. Because that sounds like a Bruce Banner-esque character, not Peter Parker. That's what's so strange about this. Because I hear this all the time. Peter should have anger issues, and it should be really bad. It should make him do really bad things. It's like, dude, you want the Hulk. That's the Hulk.
I don't really...
You're kind of off the mark here. That's not what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, wait. I think... So, like, you're trying to tie it to, like, his, the Parker pride, putting everything on himself thing. I don't really see how him impulsively getting angry like you want him to even ties to that character flaw.
Excuse me?
Did you not hear what I said?
Could you just say it one more time?
I said I don't really see how you saying, like, the whole Parker pride thing. I don't really understand how that even ties to the character flaw that he has in the game with putting everything on himself.
Oh my gosh. Well,
because I'd say it's pretty irrational that he puts a lot of the shit on himself that he does.
It's irrational for him to put this stuff when he's like, and when the people that he wants to the people who wants to help put things on his shoulders for him all don't have superpowers, and he's the only person in his life who does.
That doesn't mean he should blame himself for literally everything.
May I make a point, by the way? Because I just realized something. And I think
Go ahead.
like this is like debatable whether or not he was justified, but one thing he does beat himself up about is basically not taking into account that what Fist said was correct, and he's making a power vacuum. The fact that he actually didn't take that into account is something he beat himself up about. The fact that he is creating a power vacuum by taking down Fist.
Yeah.
But that's less justifiable. The fact that he didn't think of the consequences at all. And
he also doesn't consider his own well-being to the point where he failed to pay rent because he was more focused on saving lives. He puts others before himself too much to the point it ruins his own life.
And because of that, he managed to save lives, because every time that he wasn't out there taking care of himself, he was out there Spider-Man. There was a very fair trade away for it.
Yeah, but is it fair? But is it okay for the fact that he just completely ruins his own life like that? You think that's a healthy mindset? You think that's not a major flaw of someone's character?
Well, no,
of course
I'll just say
that's not the point. That's not the point I'm getting at, sir. You're kind of in a different. You're not saying what I'm trying to get.
I'm
trying to understand. It just doesn't seem clear at all.
No, Liam, I kind of get where he's coming from, but I'm trying to make the point that you could argue Peter has that with him not taking into consideration the power vacuum. So what would your justification for him not taking consideration of the power vacuum he's creating?
He's inconsiderate of Otto Octavius's mental health. He completely ignores it.
Oh yeah, the Tate. He literally ignores.
He knows Doc Ock is literally having a neurological disorder. He clearly doesn't seem mentally well. He's getting unhealthily obsessed with Norman, and he decides multiple times to leave him alone in a cold, lonely lab, where he slowly becomes a supervillain.
And do you think he made those choices out of selfishness or naivety?
Selfishness. There's multiple times where he leaves Otto just to see Mary Jane or Aunt May, even for non-Spider-Man stuff.
So you think
that if Spider-Man, you think if that part of Peter knew for that?
Stop, Borgie. Both of you stop. Listen, literally when the neural interface was affecting his mind and Peter knew, Peter decided to go, yeah, Otto can handle himself. I'm going to focus on myself. He goes to Feast and talks to Aunt May about fucking dating advice. How is that not a selfish decision?
The thing is, you're saying you're saying a lot of things that you don't really need to say because it's not really relevant to the point, and I'm trying to make these.
No, that is relevant. You asked if that decision was selfish, and I explained yes, it is, because he literally left Otto alone to basically deal with his own problems to turn him into a supervillain because he cared about his own personal life.
Before you interrupted me, I was going to ask you, if in that moment he was truly aware of just how bad and how
yes he was. He knew it was affecting his mind.
Really?
He knows Otto defended the City Hall bombing.
I mean, he knows he
knows that too.
But do you think he knew? Do you think he knew
it could cause
even had an idea?
And frontal lobe?
Yes, he literally says it could affect your mind and change, and then Otto starts acting unhinged in front of him. The reason Peter decides to do that is because of the fact that it's a mixture of both arrogance, selfishness, and naivety.
A lot of it was naivety, a very significant amount, because he still trusted Otto and his ability to make good decisions for himself. He didn't see that Otto was going to make certain decisions that were going to completely screw him in the entire city.
Yes, he did. He knew. Well, he didn't know about the city, but he knew it would turn Otto into something bad. He does know that.
I don't think he knew.
I think we're
getting a little lost. I think we're getting a little lost.
Otto defended the City Hall bombing, and Peter knows this.
Yes, he does know. The reason he doesn't act on it is because of the fact that he has too much faith in Otto because of the story of duality. He sees people very one-dimensionally. You're either good or you're bad. He doesn't see the nuance in people. So he just took Otto in too much good faith, and that's what caused the city to be destroyed.
Well, it's also a mix of
that. My point. That's my point right there.
What is the point? Why is that bad?
Why is it bad that he's naive and prideful and arrogant? How is that not bad character flaws for a person?
I never said they were bad character flaws. There's nothing wrong with making a character being naive. In fact, naivety is a very important lesson to teach. You need to teach lessons. You need to teach people to be afraid. Obviously, you need to teach people that they need to You need to teach people, not to be naive. But the point is, naivety, making that decision out of naivety, wouldn't have been the same as if we have two different realities. And in one, he makes this decision out of naivety because he trusts Otto that much. And another, he makes that decision out of selfishness. One is clearly worse than the other. And I think the amount that he made those decisions based off naivety is enough to make it understand, that it wasn't entirely selfish.
Is the criticism that he did that it doesn't make him look worse as a person?
I agree. It doesn't make him look worse as a person. Like, of course, the superhero should not look even worse as a person. He's trying to do his best. Spider-Man is always trying to do his best to be a good person. He is putting in the effort to be good. He's not. That's why when you're asking him to be selfish in the first place, I don't understand. You're asking a superhero to be selfish. That doesn't make any sense.
You're not understanding. It is theoretically possible. It is perfectly possible for someone to be like how Peter is. It is possible for someone to do the things that he does. I don't believe somebody who loves his family. Let me finish.
Hang on. I don't believe that a guy who loves his family that much would decide to be selfish after being selfish killed his fucking uncle. That doesn't make sense to me. Why would he ever try and be selfish ever again? He would be selfish by accident, like what I'm trying to explain with Otto. It is selfish technically, just by accident, but he wouldn't intentionally be a selfish person. His dad died because he did that. That doesn't make any sense for Peter's character. He was selfish and it killed his family. Like, yeah. I gotta ask all of you guys, if like think of somebody that you deeply love and care about. If you did something selfish and they died, would you ever actively be selfish ever again?
You do realize that it is possible to realize that your selfishness screwed someone over and still make selfish decisions, right? A lot of people
But that's not Peter. Peter's vow is to be as responsible as possible because Uncle Ben died. He made a vow to him to never be that selfish person again. If he's selfish, it's a mistake. He's not trying to be.
He still did make self. I never said the fact that him being a self. Wait, so yeah, he does sometimes do self
by mistake, by accident, like what he did with Otto. That was still selfish. He prioritized going to Feast and talking about his dating troubles than helping Otto's mental health. That is still selfish. He's just not doing it on purpose.
I also want to point out the other reason is not just for the dating thing. Is literally it's also because like he just took down Lee and he feels like he finally like got a break that he needed. Because of the big takedown.
He's sick of it. He just did it. He just saved the city. So like, I just saved the city. I want some time to myself. Oh, I'm not dealing with Otto stuff. He's fine. He's Otto. He's like me. He can handle everything by himself, right?
Can I just point out that, sir, that a lot of things that you're saying aren't a whole lot of them because I'm not finishing what I'm saying due to all the interruptions.
All right. Sorry. All right. Can I just let's just make something clear real quick before we move on. Can you just state what your issue is so we can tackle it? Because I feel like you've stated your issue, we've gone at it, and then you said that's not the issue, and I feel like we very clearly...
and then we're like, what the fuck is going on? That's why I'm getting frustrated, because I'm just so confused.
Yes, all right. As I said before, it's perfectly understandable for someone... It's fair for someone to be who Peter is. You can be who Peter is in this story. But... I think it would have been I'm so jarbled right now, but it would have been more compelling if he beat himself up more, but the things that the mistakes that he made were a little more unreasonable, unjustified, but because you can justify a lot of the mistakes that he made in ways that you can't justify a lot of other things. You can always...
Okay, wait. You're kind of shotgunning it. You're kind of shotgunning. You just made a point. I want to go at it because there's two examples literally just off the top of my head that I can think of. One, we've already gone over with the Otto thing. That does correlate to your point, so I don't know how that doesn't correlate to your point. The other thing is he beats himself up over... what's it called? Miles' dad's death because he wasn't Spider-Man'd up to oversee the City Hall thing. He was being Peter Parker, which caused a lot of people at the City Hall bombing to die, and
because of his arrogance. He thought he already defeated the demons. That was his arrogance. That was his Parker pride. He's like, yep, I handle it by myself. Yep, no need to look into it. Yeah, I did it. I'm that good, guys.
So that's just two things that. That's not no. I don't. I'm sorry. I want to say this as nicely as possible. I feel like we're going in circles here when we've made very reasonable things that like go against what you're saying, and you just keep repeating yourself.
Well, the thing, hey, well.
Then what? Are we at a stalemate?
I feel like that is what it is.
All right.
I just don't. I feel like I haven't even really gotten to the meat of what I was trying to say because. So,
okay, then what's the second point? You said there's not a lot of things in the game. That was your first point. You said there's not a lot of things in the game that aren't unreasonable for himself to be beating himself up about. We gave two major examples, and then there's multiple other little examples throughout the game where like, oh, certain so and so will die, so this will happen. It's like he'll beat himself up over literally anything, even if it's not his fault. That was your first point, and I feel like we've given so many examples of that just not being the case.
Well, I don't think those examples work. The point that I was trying to bring up is that the vast majority of his flaws. I'm sorry, that's when I talk for too long. It's just my brain gets all scrambled, kind of reaching that point. But oh my gosh, when a lot of his flaws, like, oh my gosh, completely scrambled. Oh my gosh. Well, in a broader way. Yeah, no, completely. Just... All right, yeah.
I think my biggest issue with this is I hear this argument all the time where it's like Peter doesn't seem to have meaningful flaws and all that. And what's really annoying...
That wasn't my point.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about in general. I'm talking about just in general because I hear this kind of point all the time because I always go, there's these flaws, and then essentially the counter argument always is just I just don't like that. No, that's not good enough. He has to be like this, and it's just why? I don't understand. This isn't how he is in the comics. This isn't how he is in most movies or adaptations in general. So I don't know why this game has this obligation to make Peter like be actually like selfish, to make like these big mistakes and all that.
I'll try and get just like a reference. Who's like a character who is like a generally noble character who you would consider good?
I think we kind of met a stalemate at this. I don't think I want to get into another example.
Well,
I'm fine to move to the next disagreement.
I'm fine to just agree to disagree.
Yeah.
I think the last thing I would say, I think the irony of when people say that in general about the whole, he needs to like actually be selfish and make these mistakes and feel responsible for the things he actually does. Like that's Spider-Man. That's what people are trying to say when they shit on Insomniac. That's funny. Stop talking. No, Borgie. I was in.
He can still put the weight. He can still put the weight of.
Dude, I'm not. Hang on. I'm trying to finish what I was saying, bro. I'm not responding to you. I'm trying to make a final statement, dude. Back to what I was saying. It's ironic when they say that. That's not Spider-Man. That's fucking Iron Man. That's what Tony does. That's Tony who makes mistakes himself and does selfish decisions, but decides, oh, that is my fault and I take responsibility. That's Tony's character. That's how he is. He's the one who gets like an issue with alcoholism. He's the one who causes a civil war. He's the one who makes weapons that causes like terrorism to happen, and he has to fix it because he made those mistakes. In the movie, he's the one who makes Ultron. That's Tony. That's not Spider-Man. Spider-Man puts the weight of the world even if it's not his fault. He makes it his fault. That's what makes those two characters so different.
I don't think just because he's Spider-Man means his actual mistakes are like as he goes doesn't mean like things can't really be improved upon at all, because I think certain other, as I said, other versions of Spider-Man kind of have these things that I'm trying to reference here.
Like who? Give me an example of a Spider-Man that does that.
Let's move forward to the next disagreement. This
has been Spectacular Spider-Man.
Spectacular does not make selfish decisions without any reason.
Okay, I think this has gone long enough. We'll go to another.
Yeah, we'll move on.
Another disagreement.
Okay, all I'll say is that I think the points that I could have made would have been a lot more cohesive, but there was a lot of points where I was like interrupted middle point for you to like say certain things that was kind of like not the point I was trying to make here.
I think that might be the consequence of 4v1.
I think
Well,
this
it's
conversation
also
would be
just
a
that the
little
point
lot
just
more
wasn't
productive
clear in
had I not
general.
been, like, interrupted, you know. But it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a conversation that interests me, and I do want to have more. Because I have issues with that as a characterization.
Yeah, that's why I'm so passionate about it. I hate when people say this kind of stuff because it frustrates me. I don't know why Spider-Man has to be like that when he's never been like that ever.
All right. Next
Bro, you don't have to get frustrated. It's all
yeah.
Okay,
If you ever
next
want to continue it in private, just no. I'm just saying something. If you want to like continue it, just like hit either me or Liam up in private.
Yeah.
I'm interested in it. I think he is as well.
All right. Adding the disagreement. The other guy.
All right.
I think I've seen this guy.
What's this
before.
disagreement gonna be about?
Yeah, he said it's about Edge of Time.
Oh God.
Hello.
Coach Snow, Moon Knight base profile picture. You're on the line. What is your disagreement?
I also don't think it's terrible character assassination for Edge of Time because, like, I always seen him Spidey as a flawed character. That's always been his character of always improving over time and always having a temper. Because you got to remember, this is a guy who was bullied for years and shit like that.
Yeah, I agree with those, but I think the problem is that when you say you don't care about a billion strangers, that's not just flawed, that's not just being angry, that's just not blatantly disregarding human life, and I think that is antithetical to Spider-Man as a character.
Did he really not care? Like, was that something that that reflected his true beliefs, or was that something that he just kind of like said?
Unless you also disagree, I wouldn't engage, but yes, that is his true beliefs at the time.
I mean, SK, let's make it challenging. If there's two of them, that would actually be, somewhat interesting, dude.
Well, if you do, like, if you are trying to defend the game, that's fine. I just don't know if that was a question or if that was a disagreement. If it's a disagreement, I'm gonna hop in, but
let the president unfold, SK. Let the gift unfold. Let's see what we get.
All right.
Yeah, I'll probably
SK, I want blood today. I want blood. Kids is gonna come, and even more blood's gonna happen. I'm gonna shower in blood. Mainly Collins.
That's true. Okay,
he's my nemesis.
You talking comic legend. You talking this much when we're trying to have blood here. You gotta stop doing that. You gotta stop doing it. All right, sorry. But yeah. So, Orbit. So, do you have a disagreement with Edge of Time as well?
Well,
me? Oh, sorry.
I mean,
I just want to click yes or no, so I know where we're at.
Well, somewhat. Let me clarify because I do think
I'm gonna cut you off. I just want to make clear. So you're free to open up any counterpoints whatsoever. It's just, you know, this person specifically has a new disagreement. We're gonna focus on what his specific disagreement is. I'll let him take the floor, but if you have additional points, you can add on. I was just curious. If these were just random questions, I'll just be like, just watch and let it happen.
It was a clarifying question about the talk, but yeah, you can go. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll go on.
Let's go.
Me?
Yeah.
Yep, go ahead.
Oh, okay, thanks. It's just we also got in the game, right? They specifically show you that he was disoriented. Like, I know it was like after, like when you get to that point where he's like, "Oh, I'm thinking of staying," and it's like you got to remember he's a nerd too, like a big scientist. That his nerd brain's gonna go crazy for all this new.
Yeah, I agree. Did you cut out or did I cut out?
Nope.
I think it was just your internet. That's okay. I have a huge problem with what you just said already. I'm sorry.
Let me just explain it right now. So I agree that he absolutely is geeked out by all the technology and stuff, which is, you know, that's true. However, I think there's very specific reasons why he wouldn't choose cool science, cool technology over his morality. And I think it's the fact that if Peter wanted to, he can literally quit his job as Spider-Man and just do work for big science corporations. And there's a reason he never does that. And the reason is that he has responsibilities.
Well, except when you get to the Dan Slott run with the Horizon Labs and shit.
Well, I mean, those are considered bad characterizations, right? So
Even in Parker Industries, he's still Spider-Man.
I was about to say.
Hold up, I need to bring this up. Horizon Labs is flexible enough that he can go and work whenever he feels like, so he has time to be Spider-Man. That's why he's able to be a scientist there. I don't know why that's bad.
I also want to bring up. Wait. Another point to add on to that. That fucking whole lab shit is literally made to help people around the world. It's kind of like EMF for the best comparison, I guess, that we all probably know about. Like that lab is literally made to make technology to help the world. So I don't really.
I never read that run because I stopped after one more day.
All right, well, I want to focus back on the topic, and the topic in question was whether or not he would, if he's disoriented and he's, like, very fascinated by the science stuff. I think the first problem is that even if that was the case, he would not choose cool science over saving billions of strangers. That is still antithetical to his character. The second problem I have with that is that that's not even the reason he gives. The reason he gives straight up is, well, Anti-Venom was, if someone's trying to kill me, there's a chance my loved ones will be caught in the crossfire. And the argument that Miguel makes to him is, you're gonna end up, like, history says you're going to save all these many people, do all this good, because of what you can do. So you're just gonna abandon all that? And he's like, yeah, you're saying the lives of a billion strangers are more important than my loved ones? It's just, he blatantly doesn't care. I think that's the big key thing here, is that he...
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
I want to also add, before we go, Spider-Man makes mistakes, he's human and all that, we got to understand where he is in this game, where he is as a character. We can't just go, oh, he's just allowed to make a mistake because he's Spider-Man and he always does that, apparently. We got to understand, this is the same Spider-Man that canonically did have Gwen Stacy die from the Green Goblin. If he wanted to consider stop being Spider-Man because his loved ones would be killed, I think he would have made that decision a long time ago. He ultimately decided against that, so there's no, like, excuse for, oh, my loved ones are in danger, that's why I don't want to do this anymore.
Which they weren't.
Because
they weren't even
he kept
in danger
going when Gwen died.
In the mission. They weren't even in danger.
Well, no, SK, even if they literally are and he knows, it doesn't matter. The love of his life died, and he's still Spider-Man. I don't buy that for a second.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. Like, that was just, I don't know, honestly. I know, trying to think, because, yeah, it is not a good look, I think, but we have to, and I feel like it is kind of like with the revival thing. Your brain kind of goes half dead for a second, so you don't actually think everything through as well.
It's not a revival. It's just a healing chamber. Yeah. He never died. It's not like a Superman thing where he's dead, comes back, and
I know, the healing coma.
Well, he recovered anyways. He says that way after he recovered from that, and he's not dizzy anymore.
And also, these weren't like damages to like his brain chemistry. What happened was that he got beaten the hell up, and his power was drained a bit.
Unless you think that Anti-Venom hit him so hard he has brain damage. That's why he's such a bad person in the game.
It's possible when you drain his, radioactive powers.
I don't think taking hard hits in fights changes your morality on a dime.
I wouldn't say that. I would be like, okay, so the game would treat his brain damage as a good thing? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they treat it as a good thing. They treat it as this is what Spider-Man should be.
He should be brain damaged. Oh my god. That's funny.
I mean, I feel like he does have some sort of concussion for like a few hours because of, Anti-Venom taking away his powers for a minute, and so
Spider-Man heal from that really fast though.
Yeah, not only do concussions not do that to people, but I don't think this is a good line of defense, because the game is still communicating that they cheer him on, that he's selfless and he's heroic and brave. That's how they try to present him.
You're just as brave and selfless as the other guy that I know.
Yeah, they're trying to present him as that. He basically tells Miguel, save my girlfriend, even if the fate of existence, the fabric of reality could get destroyed by it, despite knowing that she's going to be saved anyway, because she's not even supposed to be at Alchemax, because Alchemax doesn't exist yet. He's basically saying, well, I don't want to experience her dying, so I want you to save her.
Well, that's an understandable trait.
It's understandable for certain characters, but not for Spider-Man.
No, definitely not for Spider-Man. He makes many points earlier in the game. If you don't get that I can't turn my back on danger no matter what the cost, you have no business calling yourself Spider-Man.
Wait, hold on. There's a very important point here. Is the fact that Mary Jane would survive regardless, is that actually referenced in the story? Does the story actually acknowledge that bit?
It doesn't matter if they acknowledge it. It's common sense, and the reason
it does because
it is acknowledged in a cut line, so the whole world can hang. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Excuse me.
So the intent is actually like the world will die if he prioritizes Mary Jane, and they do it anyways.
And he still does it anyway.
I mean, the point that SK made was that the thing that SK said was that Mary Jane was going to survive regardless. But did the game actually?
Let me explain to you why.
I mean, they don't need to explain that because it shows in the story that if you undo the bad things, then the thing that was going to kill her never happens.
Exactly.
Well, I'm going to go even further. It doesn't even matter if she will die. Let's say she dies 100%. It's still not good. Spider-Man still would not make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
He would never do that, ever.
All I'm going to say is even if she is going to die, you at least need a plan for how you secure the future, which he doesn't have.
Well, if we frame this in like in what you're saying, like as if Mary Jane is going to die, if that was the framing, because your point was, you said that Spider-Man wouldn't do what he did in the game, right? That was your point. I think that certain arguments can be made against that. For one, he made two arguments when he told Miguel to go rescue Mary Jane. One of them was the fact that he didn't want to allow anyone to suffer or die. He wanted to see if he could save both.
Everyone will if he doesn't save MJ.
Both Mary Jane and the rest of the universe, of course.
Yes, so but you can't do both. It is a high risk to do both. He would not.
I know, but there's a lot of
gamble
other
all of existence just for one person.
I understand that it's a high risk point, but the thing is, there are so many different examples in different stories about heroic characters saying, "We need to do this thing." And
but here's the difference. Here's the difference. Characters, when you do this right, characters usually have a plan to try to handle both. Let me give an example.
Not always.
In The Empire Strikes Back, Luke Skywalker is told, "Hey, you need to stay here to do your training." It's like, I get that your friends are in danger, but you can't save the galaxy.
I don't even think SK. No, wait, SK. There's a line in the game that you don't need to bring this comparison. There's a line in the game that shows that this isn't Peter's thinking. Miguel brings up the whole future is in jeopardy, and Peter says, my future is nothing without her.
Fair. You're right.
There's no comparison. There's no I want to do both. This is a selfish desire, and the game treats it as a good thing. This is indefensible.
The thing is whether he said that. The thing is whether he said that or not. Whether it was just the first point he made, not letting someone suffer or die, or whether it was like, the thing is, both of those were reasons. So even if he only bring up the fact that he didn't want anyone to suffer or die no matter what, the fact that Mary Jane was someone who's close to her was always going to be one of the reasons that he made that decision, whether he voiced it or not. And because of that, we can't really say that that's the bigger reason than the first reason that you brought up, even though in the story it's framed as the kill point in the argument.
No, but here's the problem. The problem is that he's trying to argue on the basis we can't let people suffer or die. Miguel is telling him you're going to let everybody else suffer or die with what you're doing. So what's your next argument? His next argument is my future is meaningless without her. It's completely selfish, and they present.
Also, once again, we gotta talk about if it makes sense for Peter. It doesn't make sense for Peter because Peter is not that kind of person. He would not choose like a selfish decision like that ever. He would not be biased for the people that he cares about versus other innocent people. That's not the kind of hero Spider-Man is. The whole point of Spider-Man as a character is the fact that he decides to sacrifice his happiness for the safety of others. No matter how much it hurts him.
From his point of view, he could save Mary Jane and the rest of the universe, just like
why?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have that point of view. He doesn't have that point of view.
What's his plan?
I got a point for that actually, because like the difference is like with Spider-Verse, right? Miles has to go to his own universe to save his dad or stop the Spot who's on another place. Well, not at that moment yet.
In the Spider-Verse movie,
the plan isn't the determining factor here. Like,
okay,
I'm sure he was probably thinking of a plan.
No,
let me.
That Miles had a plan.
Hang on.
Isn't the thing?
Stop.
I need to say this.
No, you guys brought up a false comparison, so that's why I'm trying to stop with the Spider-Verse stuff. The thing with Spider-Verse is we know what his intent is because it's blatantly told to us. He says, "I can do both."
Yeah,
that's not him going, only my dad, my future is dependent on my dad or anything. He says this.
You think Peter was ready to sacrifice the future in that game?
Yes,
he says that. That's literally what
that was the words that came out of his face.
I mean, I'll just say this outright. Who is the CEO again?
Oh.
Yeah, the guy willing to sacrifice the future for his loved ones. That's the same character, by the way. But back to the point, Miles does this well. I'm talking. Hang on. I was talking still. Miles does this well because of the fact that he says both. He goes, "You really expect me to sit by and watch my dad die?" But he also brings up, "I can do both." Spider-Man always does both. It's naive and stupid for a belief, but at least it conveys the fact that he still cares for innocent life.
I think we can infer that.
I'm sorry, Urban, go ahead.
I think in Edge of Time that we can infer that he also thought he could do both.
Where literally says the opposite. He never says we can do both, Miguel. He never conveys that at all.
He never says it, but
he says my future.
Why are you putting Miguel's life at risk for something that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of existence?
Also, there's another line in the game that cements this even further. You're saying the lives of a billion strangers are more what the fuck?
I mean, this
blatantly says this.
What you're saying is
explicit. He blatantly doesn't care about billions of strangers.
Yeah,
the main villain of the game.
You can't infer that he means he can do both when there is no evidence that he wants to, and there is evidence that he does not want to. I don't see how you can infer that.
Says the opposite.
The main villain of the game.
In terms of that actual other scene that you're talking about. In terms of that other scene, that scene, I'm not defending that one. I do think that one's probably a little problematic.
But it ties to this though.
Yeah, it's the same game.
That ties to his intent. That's telling you what his intent as a person is. Which means that if anything, we have more evidence that he is just selfish and doesn't fucking care.
Yeah, all right,
because he literally says it.
I will admit. Yeah, I will admit for that point, it has been quite a while since I've seen Edge of Time. So yeah, with that bit of context, with that line, yeah, I definitely wouldn't defend what he said here.
Okay.
But I would still argue that if he never said that point, the other point, the thing that he wanted to, this area where he wanted to save Mary Jane, I think you could make and possibly risk the destruction of the universe. I think you could make fair arguments.
No, I think it's unacceptable. I think it's blatantly unacceptable for Peter Parker to do that. The guy who still decides, I'm going to be Spider-Man despite the love of my life being fucking gruesomely murdered by a psychopath. No, he would not make that decision. If he made that decision, he would have never been Spider-Man after Gwen died. But he still chose to, because he still cares for other people, despite how he feels about losing the people he loves.
Spider-Man's entire origin is, okay, I'm going to blow someone else off to do what I want, and his uncle died. He lost his uncle forever because he did what he wanted.
He would never betray his uncle's... He would never betray the death of his uncle like that. He would never betray the spirit of Uncle Ben like that, ever. Even when the closest people he's ever loved dies in front of his face, he never does that. Harry Osborn dies from an overdose of goblin serum. He's still Spider-Man. The love of his life is killed by Green Goblin. He's still Spider-Man. A close cop detective friend gets murdered by a shotgun blast. He's still Spider-Man.
If wait, hold on. If in the end of the first Insomniac Spider-Man game, where he made the decision between using the serum, the anti-serum, to save Aunt May, or sparing it so they could, make replicas, if he knew that there was a chance. If he knew that there was
a chance, but he didn't risk it. There was a chance.
Let me finish, sir. If he knew that there was a chance somehow. Let's just say that there was hypothetically.
There was like there actually was in the game
that he could both save Aunt May and all those people. He would have taken that chance, definitely.
No, he wouldn't, because there was that chance. That's why I was trying to cut you off. Don't
I know. And that certain point.
Hey, stop. I let you finish.
I don't think it matters.
Hang on, stop. No. I'm trying to say something. No, both of you. First of all, that's why I tried to cut you off. I understand the complaint, but this time was for a good reason. There was a chance to save Aunt May and do both. All that he literally had to do, yes, there is. All that, yes, there was. Yes, there was. You're not even letting me explain why there's a chance.
Let him explain
why there's a chance.
Yeah, don't complain about me interrupting if you're literally doing it. Okay.
Sir, don't interrupt me. If I'm going to interrupt you.
What does Dr. Michael say? He says Peter goes, what if we use it on one person? He says there won't be enough to use on everyone else. That's if he sticks it in and puts the entire sample in Aunt May, right? That won't be enough. If he just put a portion in her so that she could possibly fight off the disease and keep the rest for others to experiment on, there's still a chance they could get enough of a sample to save everyone else, and Aunt May could have fought it off.
That was never framed in the story. That wasn't framed in the story.
To be fair, didn't Morbius actually say, "I need the whole sample"?
No. All that he says is if we use it on someone, he can't figure out how to replicate it. He's saying I need the whole. He says I need the sample, not the entirety. Peter could have risked it and put a portion in Aunt May. He considers doing that when he's about to put it in the syringe thing for her, but he decides I'm not risking everyone just for Aunt May. So no, he does do that.
I'm pretty sure in that certain scene, it was framed that if he used that serum on Aunt May, he was going to use all the serum. It never mentioned anything about maybe if you only use half the serum or a quarter of the serum. I'm pretty sure what was being framed.
I think it's a very logical conclusion.
In that certain moment was that if you use the anti-serum on Aunt May, that they wouldn't have had enough for the rest. That was what was being framed here. I completely.
I literally verbatim said the dialogue. It didn't say if you use a portion, we can't use the serum at all. All that he says is if we use it on someone right now, it won't work.
It wouldn't be enough for the rest.
Indicates that he didn't have intent to use that.
Yeah, he doesn't. Here's the thing. There's either two ways to interpret this.
It wouldn't be enough.
Stop. I'm trying to speak. There's two intent for this. Either he was going to put it in the syringe and use a portion of it and risk it, and he decides against it, or he didn't even have that thought because he doesn't think taking a risk on people's lives is responsible. Either way,
Norman Osborn did. He tried to do both himself, but that didn't turn out
literally.
Well for the city.
Either way, he didn't go through with it, so he's not okay with either.
Yeah, this is a deliberate parallel between the two characters.
He flat out goes, I'm going to let my aunt die. I'm not even going to consider possibly risking any kind of chance.
Which is good. If he considered, even chancing it, I'm sorry, I wouldn't believe that Spider-Man would chance potentially the apocalypse. Remember, that's how bad Devil's Breath is.
That was a 50-50. That was a one or other choice. It was framed as this choice or that choice. There was no chance there. It wasn't framed like that in the story.
Because he will never consider that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
The point is that Peter doesn't consider that a choice because he would never do it.
It doesn't matter. The fact that he didn't bring it up means he's not okay with doing it.
Yeah, okay. Even if it's an interpretation, even if it's an interpretation, your interpretation for Edge of Time literally has evidence verbatim that goes against everything you said. The things you use to defend it aren't even in the game.
Yeah. At least these so-called interpretations actually has a string of logic to it, and there's no countering it in the game. You're not using the game at all. You're not going, oh well, the game literally says this. That's just not there. So so for all that we know, Peter could have thought of that and decides against it.
If you're referring to the whole thing,
I think he just never considered that. He would never consider the chance. He would not chance it.
If you're referring to the part where Peter said, yeah, I'd stay in the future and do that stuff. Yeah, that part I conceded. The thing is, the chance thing that I was doing, the parallel between Edge of Time and Spider-Man, Marvel's Spider-Man, is that I said in the framing of, oh my gosh, I said that, oh my gosh, what is wrong with me?
No, take your time.
In the Insomniac Spider-Man 1, my framing here was that it was either a 1 or 2 chance he could either save Aunt May, and it would and there wouldn't be enough for the rest. My framing in Edge of Time was that if it was the case that he never said that other thing, and he wanted to save Mary Jane and the rest of the future, there was an actual chance that he could do both there. I'm saying he could do both if that was the case, and that thing.
You know what?
Okay. A chance for him to
Fuck
do both.
it. Hang on. I got one you can't even say is an interpretation. He doesn't take the risk with Harry. He kills him because he would rather do that and save the world. He doesn't chance Harry beating the symbiote by himself. He kills him.
He was trying to talk him out of it all. He was saying fight it the whole time.
And then when Harry says, I can't do it, I can't beat it, instead of keep trying to make him break out of it, he fucking kills him. He kills his best friend to save the world. What about that one?
The entire time throughout that fight, he was telling Harry to fight and all that.
Well, yeah, but what does he ultimately do once he realized it was too risky?
I hope you understand that every time that you interrupt, you're only making the discourse worse. That's not helping anyone.
All right, but you gotta actually engage with my argument. You're making up an argument I didn't say. What I'm trying to say is that once he did take the chance, but the moment he realized it was too risky and he can't save, and he might not be able to save the world, the moment it's actually a meaningful risk, he kills Harry.
I mean, he's not even taking that much of a chance because that's in the middle of a boss fight where you're beating.
Yeah, that is not a chance. He's beating up Venom and he's distracting him to save the world. That's not chancing it. But the moment Harry goes, he'll kill everyone. He'll kill you. He'll kill them. He'll kill everyone. You know, this is really dangerous. You gotta do it. This is risky. He hesitates because it's his best friend, but he fucking kills him. He kills his best friend. What about that?
It wasn't the same as the example that I was like the hypothetical example. The thing that you're saying here.
No, it literally is the same thing. That is a chance. He could have saved Harry in the city, but it was too risky, so he killed Harry. He made Harry stop breathing to save everyone he does, to save a billion strangers. He murdered his best friend.
He could.
Yeah, and if in the Edge of Time example, the equivalent of him saying "fight it, Harry" all that time, the equivalent of that would have been him getting Miguel to go out and try and
because Miguel already communicates this to him.
Hold on. The equivalent to what you're saying there is if it played out the same way it played out there. The moment where Spider-Man was fighting Venom and he was telling and he was telling Harry to fight Venom, break out of the thing, that would have been the equivalent of him convincing Miguel to actually go out and try and rescue MJ. And at the end
that's false.
The parallel where he ends up killing killing Harry. That would be
this is a false dichotomy.
That would be the equivalent of him realizing that there would not be enough time to save MJ, and then Spider-Man telling Spider-Man 2000
there was not enough time to save MJ. There was not enough time. There was not enough time. He would not know if there's enough time. Yes, because the game conveys that any second
you need to calm down. This is like hurting the discourse so much. Like chill out. Seriously.
Calm the fuck down, my guy. All right, where was I?
I can bring up something.
No, Porky.
No. Hang on. No. I was trying to say something. No, the problem with your comparison is that it's extremely false and not close to the same thing at all. Like, the problem with the Edge of Time one is the fact that Miguel makes it very clear that this is already an immediate risk to all of existence, and and the end of it could happen at any moment, and they don't know for sure. Every second counts, or everybody dies. So he's risking all that for Mary Jane. How many minutes it takes to save Mary Jane? Those are minutes that everything could have died. He doesn't know. The difference with Venom is when he's talking it out to Harry, he knows he still has a lot of time because Venom isn't immediately winning. He's getting his ass kicked by 2 Spider-Men, and they're in the process of destroying the meteorite. But the moment he realizes and that Harry communicates, oh no, this is a risk now. Every time you're wasting your time talking to me, people are going to die, and you guys are not going to win. Venom needs to die so you guys can win. He kills him right away. That's the difference. When Miguel communicates, This is immediately risking our future. The future depends on this. He ignores it and continues going on about Mary Jane.
He just didn't understand it.
Yes, he did understand it. He responded to it properly.
From his point of view, he thought there was a chance.
Where is that in the game?
Where is that in the game?
I have a point for that.
In the hypothetical.
I mean, yeah, and I have a point that I wanted to bring up earlier. The CEO's whole thing is playing chance of destroying the universe to bring back his loved ones. That's the whole point of the CEO. Who is Peter? That's his entire point.
Yeah, is the CEO in the right now? Is he not a bad guy?
Well, no. Well, he's very brave and unselfish. So
technically, it's because he wants to bring back everybody he's ever like he says his original sin.
Well, I don't even want to bring up CEO Peter because they imply
Mr. Freeze wants to save fucking Nora Freeze. He's still a bad guy.
I don't even want to bring up CEO Peter because the implication in the story is that the anti-aging drugs actively changed his brain chemistry and made him insane. So I don't even want to go that angle. I just want to stick to the scene itself, right? So he argues on the basis, we can't let people suffer or die. Miguel says, you're doing that anyway with the rest of the world. He says, my future is meaningless. That's fighting for yourself at that point. That's not fighting for everyone. And furthermore, the game doesn't even treat this as, because you said, well, maybe he misunderstood it. Well, that's not how the game treats it. It doesn't treat it as something that's ignorant or misguided. It treats it as heroic, brave, and unselfish. That's how they frame it.
Yeah, that isn't the best framing there.
Right. And if we go even further with this, right? If you want to say that Peter has, hang on, I was in the middle of a point. If you want to say that Peter had a plan to do both, what's his plan? You can't justify a character saying I can do both unless you actually outline a viable plan that would make sense to them. What plan does Peter have to deal with the fabric of reality destroying itself?
He could, the game that took place before Shattered Dimensions, where they've gone through reality warping shit. That's not a plan. And well,
what does he do in Shattered Dimensions? What's your example?
Like you've seen that Miguel and all the other Spider-Man could handle their own, and so maybe in the back of his head he's like, hey, maybe this time I can kind of risk it by having Miguel do it since he's right there and he can just go right next door and get her.
That's not a plan.
I mean, it's still a plan.
No, it's not. What's his plan with the fabric of reality unraveling? Miguel literally says in the scene, while he's trying to save her, temporal rifts keep opening up, and it's like the fabric of reality is being stretched thinner and thinner. It may reach a point where it's irreparable. So what's his plan?
Yeah, even saving MJ doesn't really... That's not even part of his plan. It's not like saving MJ will stop the fabric of reality falling apart. Yeah. That just doesn't happen.
That's the point he's trying to get. He's trying to get at the plan to do both. The problem is we don't have one. I don't know what his plan would be.
We're not arguing a hypothetical at this point, so yeah. In terms of the actual game Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, I mean, Edge of Time, yeah, I'd concede on that point. With the context of that other bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Alright. Well...
But I would still... Never mind.
But yeah, since we gotten that conceded on, I'll just stick with the other guy for now. So, again, I don't think we can defend Peter saying he can do both. He needs a plan. He doesn't have a plan.
We don't even have a line in the game where he says I can do both. So this is just not in the game. We can't just bring up things that are not there.
Wait, SK, just to clarify what I conceded on. Yeah, I conceded on his representation on an Edge of Time. I still think if there was a point where if he never said that one thing in that one area, his argument, the things that he said when he wanted him to save MJ wouldn't have been out of character, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear.
Yep.
Just so we're clear. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool.
So I guess it just goes back to my question, what's Peter's plan then?
Just that he doesn't have one.
I mean, it's just a part of an idea, though. I know it's not technically a plan idea, but it's just an idea of,
so an idea is not a plan.
It's a start of a plan.
Okay, so what's the...
So yeah, but plan. An idea is meaningless if it's just an idea.
Too, is happening like right
So
now.
he sent
like,
off Miguel to save her when he had no plan to stop the fabric of reality
He
from
sent
getting
him almost
destroyed.
to his death based off an idea.
I know.
I may not have a brain, gentlemen, but I have an idea.
Hey, he's seen how he can handle himself in Shattered Dimensions, though. Like he knows he can handle himself.
That's not a plan.
I want to comment something.
I do a bunch of robots.
I want to comment on something, and this is like really interesting. A lot of Spider-Man fans love defending Edge of Time, and they like always act like Spider-Man's way better than Batman. When it's like, yeah, in Arkham Knight, Batman decided to sacrifice his family to save billions of strangers. I don't know, man. I think I'm liking Batman a little more. Kind of funny.
Let's go, babe.
So it's almost like Batman had a plan and fucking decides I'm gonna save a bunch of other people's loved ones, and even if that sacrifices my own happiness.
I may not have a plan,
that's
gentlemen.
true, Liam,
but
but I mean, does Edge of Time have a tank? I didn't think so.
Oh yeah, but Batmobile guys, yeah. Ridiculous.
Redonkulous.
Goodbye.
Is that dumb?
Spider-Man fans smell. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, you have a Spider-Man logo in your Discord profile thingy.
Yeah, it's tragic.
Let's get back to the thing.
Yes, yes, I agree. I agree, Orbit, and Liam is very smelly.
Yeah. So code sucks now. What's the next point you have regarding Edge of Time?
We just said code.
Or
It's a matter. It's up to certain Spider-Man fans to try and degrade the smell. That's why me and SK are here.
Oh, it's
like
the anti-smell equation.
It's like an air freshener in a mass grave. It's just not working at all.
Con sucks now. Like, what's the next point you have? Because like I made a few and I'm just waiting.
I really don't know. Like I thought I remembered there was something about Miguel's character or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, so Peter does.
Miguel's a victim of gaslighting.
Yeah, nothing was done to disprove his belief that the universe will get destroyed, but he goes along with the plan anyway. Instead of just telling him MJ's supposed to live anyway. So
Miguel's a victim of gaslighting.
Mm.
It's out of character for Spider-Man to be gaslit like that, bro.
I mean, he is like also a fan of Spider-Man. You know.
Yeah,
the
but he
whole
still stands up for his principles.
Oh, I know.
Well, actually, he doesn't fully because he's more about practicality than he is about saving literally everyone.
Well, it's the argument of emotion versus a logic. Like,
so then why does he give in so easily?
Because he felt, because he even says like, look, I feel like you've earned this like for all you've done for us.
You've earned the right to let millions of people die because
no man earns the right to fucking risk so many people.
Yeah, that's power no one should have. He says this in the game.
I mean, he only says that to the CEO though. That's the only.
Who is the same person?
Yeah,
I know, but
no man should deserve that much power. I think is what he says.
But he's
right?
also a clone, and he lost MJ, so he's crazier.
No,
wait, who's a clone?
No,
the
CEO was Brainiac clone. I didn't know Suicide Squad was so bad and it ruined fucking Edge of Time.
The CEO
clones
is
Peter, just like he cloned the Green Lantern, right?
The CEO isn't a clone. He is future Peter.
No, he's not. He's a fucking clone. Did you not see the next Suicide Squad expansion? He's a clone.
No, my God.
They literally said in the beginning of Edge of Time.
Wait, let him finish.
In the beginning of Edge of Time, MJ even says like, look, in a few years they can clone you.
No,
like in 50 years.
That's not proof he's a clone.
And that's implied that he's a clone.
That's a joke about the Ben Riley clone
and
saga
also,
shit.
That's
not imply that he's a clone.
That's not what the character bio of the CEO says. The CEO says that he tried to prolong his career with the anti-aging drug, so it's still him.
Yeah, it is him. But what I would say is that while they are the
also
same
it's a
people
plot hole.
while they are the same people biologically, a future Peter experienced different things. Their minds worked differently. Present Peter obviously opposed.
It's almost like no matter
Peter,
what
so
you
I don't
experience
think
or
saying
go through,
one
you
would do
shouldn't
one
risk
thing
the lives of a billion strangers.
Well, no, just because he experiences more things in the future, he's still a future version. So if things like that were to happen, our Spider-Man in the game still can become that.
Yeah, I'm just saying they
What's
wouldn't
kind of a
react the
plot
same
hole?
way
How
to
does
the
Mary
same
J
thing.
know about Brainiac's Justice League clones? How does she mention clones?
Shut up.
Because in the game, Peter tells her about the whole. Oh,
How does Peter know about Brainiac's clones?
All right.
God.
No, we're
Yeah,
getting off
you're just
track.
wanting to joke, this dude.
All right, let's continue. I'm
Wait,
sorry.
Jeez, like we
Suicide
get it.
Squad, I ain't defending that.
I hate the game too. I get it. I get that. I hate Suicide Squad as much as anyone else.
Based.
It's horrible. It's horrible
Yeah,
how
we
they
can all
treat
agree on
people.
that.
I don't care. I don't care. Honestly, just because Cod Snow's one of the only Moon Knight fans I know, I think your arguments are valid.
What's a Moon Knight?
Oh,
You see Cod Snow. You see what we have to deal with. You see what we have to deal with. These people they're just not based.
These people.
that twist
Moon Knight
for the
doesn't
new
have an iconic rogues gallery. Name 5 good stories with his villains, bro.
Midnight Man. Midnight Man, for God's sake.
I
We got Midnight Man. We got Rand. We got my boy
I want to
Randall.
get back.
Raul.
We got
thing I'm here
Khonshu.
for.
Khonshu's within a villain in himself, pretty much.
I mean,
Oh,
it's
Name
no.
5 Khonshu stories.
Let's
Bro,
get back to the disagreement.
Fuck you, SK.
Fuck
did
you,
Moon
SK.
Knight-
If I
did
had your
Moon
number,
Knight
it'd be a different story, SK.
8 out of 10. Fuck you, SK.
8 out of 10. Fuck you, SK. Fuck you, Thumbcast. What a shitty organization.
Did Moon Knight even fight Man Mountain Marco?
I think so. Yeah, he did.
Nah, Man Mountain Marco scales above Moon Knight, bro. He's multiversal.
He beat him
Multi-continental.
in one of the recent runs.
Moon
He beat
Knight's
his
not a real
ass.
character.
Did
He
Jet
just
K
does it
run?
all.
Is that
Can
conceding?
Moon Knight scale to light speed?
Is that conceding
Alright, yeah.
edge of time or what?
Moon Knight is broken, man. He's got
You
fucking
fight
he's
Big Wheel?
overpowered.
Because we want
Bro,
to keep
Moon
this
Knight-
decently organized.
Moon Knight beat
overpowered.
Thor's ass. Moon Knight beat Thor's ass. That's all I
He
got.
beat all the Avengers.
Yeah, all
he
of
beat
them.
Ghost Rider.
All right,
he beat
yo,
Iron Fist.
Back to edge of time. Back to edge of time.
Moon Knight looks like the KKK. Go back to Spider-Man.
Back
Shut up,
to
Howard.
edge of time. Back to edge of time. So, where were we even
Where
at
were
with
we
that?
again?
I was saying that
Miguel.
yeah, Miguel, and how his character is assassinated. Yeah, there was nothing to disprove his whole ideology. So why he gave up, I don't know.
Because it's that hero worship, you know? Like, he's going to be like, oh, fine, I'll do it because...
He's
But
not a
he's
hero
burned-
worshipper. He's constantly at odds with Peter in the
Yeah.
whole game.
I know, but I'm saying, like, when you also bring in context from the first issue, like, he was a fan. Like, he's like, oh, I heard of this guy. He's cool.
he still
and,
fights him in the game.
I know. And I'm saying, like, you know, with all
He
Peter's
literally goes,
sacrifices...
"Don't poke
he's
around in
burned.
the archives."
Oh, I know. And, you know, Peter don't listen, and he doesn't good. He's not a good thinker a lot of the time.
So then he'd still argue with him on it. He
Yeah.
wouldn't let the universe get destroyed.
It's just because, like, you know, there's already too much going on at that point. Like, and it's
So
just
then
just
you try to
screw
fix
it.
it and not give up.
And it's like, and she's like literally what in the next room, right? She's like, oh, right there, I can go get her. Screw it.
No, again, literally during that scene, he's like, "Oh yeah, the temporal rifts are opening up, and stretching space-time thinner and thinner. It may reach a point where it's irreparable." So
Yeah, at a point, but they don't know exactly when, though.
Exactly, so don't risk it.
yeah,
Yeah, that point could literally be 5 minutes from now. They don't.
Yeah,
know.
if you don't know, then assume it's in 1 second, so do anything you can.
Yeah,
This is
Superman
everything
back
that exists.
Super
Yes,
bad
don't-
faith.
Yeah, don't get Brainiacked.
Don't be like
Lord.
Superman. Don't assume in good faith.
Don't put Brainiac in good faith. Don't assume he's a good guy, even though he's a fucking skull ship, bro.
yeah. All right, let's let
I'm
him.
asking.
All right. Let's let him finish. Let's let him respond.
Okay.
I'm just thinking, that's all I was thinking when I was playing. It was just like, huh. It was just like, hey, you owe, like, he even says it later on. He's like, oh, I owe you this for like everything you've ever done.
You aren't owed the right to risk billions of lives. I don't think.
I mean,
you'll
it's not-
ever think that.
Yeah, is
I mean,
Spider-Man
you're gonna
is Spider-Man based on like is he like an emperor now?
Yeah,
In some timelines, yes.
And a Spider-Man.
like no one owes him his life.
Or
Sorry,
like
no one owes
old
them
man,
their lives.
or like the old man Logan comics with what's her name, the granddaughter.
Oh yeah,
Spider-Bitch?
Spider. Yeah, Spider bitch.
He's a
Choices
warlord.
are the strongest will Spider-Man.
Yeah, again, I don't
Spider-Man.
I don't see how I'm saying.
Spider-Man the Warlord.
For everything you've done for them, maybe the world owes you. It's like, no, they don't owe you their lives. That's ridiculous. He went from they're all gonna die to maybe they owe you.
I don't even know why you would think that, because he's supposed to be like a Spider-Man style superhero. They don't do good things.
I mean, and
because they want
Miguel
people to
can be
know
an
them. It's
asshole
just the
too,
right
and be like,
thing to
"Yeah,
do.
fuck the people."
Yeah.
I mean, his little theme song is literally that, like, he's ignored action is his reward. It's the whole point of Spider-Man. He doesn't.
Oh, I know.
He's not doing this for any kind of. He's not doing this for any kind of, like, you know.
Oh, I know.
Reputation or anything. It's just
Like-
the whole point of Spider-Man is that's a thankless job.
I know.
So Miguel should treat it like a thankless job as well.
I know.
So it's bad.
So there's no innovation here. More the same.
I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I think the broad point of the issue is that, like, Peter is putting literal billions of lives at risk for the sake of one person, and that's just that's just the opposite of what, like, a hero should do.
That's what
in any situation.
That's literally Kingpin and Into the Spider-Verse.
Especially Spider-Man. That's the thing I want to bring up. This isn't just, oh, this is what heroes would do. This is especially Spider-Man shouldn't do this.
This is the
Like,
guy who's so
especially
moral
him.
he can't wield Mjolnir. He's too good of a person to throw the hammer.
Because he won't
The
kill
only
him.
reason he can't pick up Mjolnir is because he won't kill some people. That's it.
Because you
That's
have
the only
to be able
reason.
to wield that hammer.
Yeah.
That's
He's
why
such
Cap
a
can
good
wield it.
person,
Because
he can't
Cap
wield
will
it.
kill him.
It's the same guy that Cable said in the future is the world's greatest superhero in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, I can believe that.
This is the same guy that Captain America said that he would have been the best of us in a few years.
Mostly, like, didn't he say that in the Ultimate Comics that when he died?
Yeah, but still. That's who Peter is. That's who Spider-Man is. He's one of the greatest superheroes of all time.
One of the great ones.
Oh,
Yes.
Good ones.
This isn't like Tony Stark where he's like really flawed and he does a few selfish things, but he's ultimately a good guy. No, this is one of the best superheroes of all time. So we should be treating him like such. We should put him to that high standard that he puts himself to.
Even then, I don't think Tony would do this.
Well, that's the thing. Tony wouldn't do this either. But the point is, like, it's especially bad with Spider-Man. It's like saying, oh, yeah, well, I could understand Superman just giving up everything for Lois. That's like, no, you can't, because we know
that's
that.
literally
Superman's
didn't he do that in Superman 2, though? He gave up everything for Lois?
Yep, and that's a bad movie.
Yeah, and that movie's horrible.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Richard Donner cut's better.
Just like
They're
how,
both-
you know,
I watched the
Injustice.
Richard Donner cut with Tag and others people. It's really bad.
I have another
you-
disagreement if we're done with this.
All right, yeah, I assume we're done with this, but yeah, you can. What is it?
Just like how it's
Okay, wait.
notoriously bad for Injustice is what I was about to say. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we just don't accept that. If we don't accept it for Superman, if we don't accept it for... Here's my rule.
You gotta-
if we
you
don't
gotta
accept
kick
this for
somebody, you gotta
Batman or
kick somebody.
Superman... Yeah, just kick somebody. If we, my rule is if we don't accept this for Superman or Batman, we should not accept this for Spider-Man. That's just like... That's how I put it. I put these characters in a very similar standard when it comes to heroics. If Spider-Man's being less than them, he's not Spider-Man.
All right, we have a disagreement on the line. Stop sweating.
The Great Necromancer is literally a menace to society.
He truly is.
What the fuck did he do?
Exist.
Yes, literally. Thank you, SK.